additional discussion. Representative Couture.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to highlight a couple concerns I have, and I'm sure my colleagues over on this side will highlight some additional concerns. But the first concern I have, and as a program manager I use this word a lot, is scope creep. And of course, I think that there's many complaints from our constituents and others across the state that a lot of our state agencies engage in scope creep and do things that weren't expressly the legislative intent, or you know, do things that really, you know, kind of skirts on the boundaries of their authority. And we're talking about the Department of Corrections becoming a pharmacy, which they do slightly operate a pharmacy, but a pharmacy for the whole state. One of the biggest concerns I had this session is that, you know, I had a lot of the corrections workers come up to me and complain about how, because of workforce shortages, they're pulling 100-hour shifts and sleeping on cots in their break room in an environment that is inherently unsafe, with security cameras in their cell blocks that many of which are not functioning and the DOC is not paying to fix, further putting those people's lives and the inmate lives in jeopardy. And here we are about to give, you know, $2.5 million to Department of Corrections to become an abortion medication wholesaler, one they didn't have to get a license for. And is this the scope of Department of Corrections? Is this the intent of not only us, the legislature, but also the people of Washington State, what they envision the Department of Corrections role to be? So no, no, I just think that we should stick to Department of Corrections' current scope, keep them within that, and then make sure that they adequately perform the responsibilities that they currently have. And then furthermore, I would like to say, and it's mentioned a little bit earlier, that, you know, I'm a freshman here, but it's pretty clear to me that there's a legislative process. We have this appropriations committee. We run bills through committee. We have hearings. We have time for constituents to weigh in and stakeholder groups, and then we vote on a budget. And, you know, based upon those things, you know, different votes occur. But this has happened in the reverse, where a contract was put out by our governor April 4th, and then we come back to the table after the fact to appropriate and make retroactive the money, totally stripping away our legislative authority. And we have to stand up as a body, regardless of party, I believe, and say that, no, this is our authority to, we have the power of the purse. We write the laws and we appropriate the money, not the other way around. And it was clear to me at one point when we heard the governor's proposed budget that this was an ask. The governor asked for this money. He doesn't just get it. But what if he decided to go further than this and put out contracts for things worth $1 billion? How about $2 billion? Where does that line end? Where do we draw that line? And I think that we should say no and draw the line in the sand and say this isn't how business is done here. Thank you, Mr. Chair.